Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden. In today's video we are going to be going over the 32, that's a lot of cars, 32 best cars of the 90s. Now this is obviously completely subjective. These are all cars that I love H2O, but I think are the best cars of the 90s. Now you could say like the freaking Geo Metro is the best car of the 90s. I'm gonna heavily disagree with you, but that's your opinion, so just keep that in mind throughout this video. I was gonna do just like a normal top 10, you know, like, oh, top 10 best cars of the 90s, but then I kept thinking of more and more cars, and I was just like, you know what, I can't do just 10. There's too many cars of the 90s. Also, I know you guys are probably like, oh my god, this is such a different Mark Roden video. What is going on? He's driving and talking. Also, it's snowing, like, and he's in his Integra. What is happening right now? This is wild. First of all, the Integra's fixed. It was the clutch master cylinder, so I ended up replacing it. Actually, not that bad of a job, except for the cotter pin. My cotter pin was all messed up, so that's okay. And second, yes, it's snowing, but it just started snowing and it's not snowing that bad, so whatever. What are you gonna do about it? I'm actually gonna put my good old, where's my, there it is, my defroster on, because I can kind of not see. And the third thing is, yeah, this is different from my normal top 10s where I put a background video of a cool car in the back playing over it. Instead, I wanted to drive and talk about them today. I wanted to see how it does. If it does better, then I'm gonna start doing more of these more often. If it does worse, I'm gonna do the normal ones more often. But without further ado, let's go right to the list because there's 32 of them, so we gotta get going. And 32nd is the BMW 850 CSI E31. This car, it's got pop-up, up and down headlights. It's freaking sexy AF. The BMW, I've always been a big BMW fan, obviously, but the 8 Series and the 6 Series and the 7 Series are such underrated cars. Like the 5 Series and the 3 Series are obviously super popular. The 1 Series gets a bunch of love. Now that we have the 2 Series and the 4 Series, they're both pretty popular as well. So those cars are like, yeah, they're kind of underrated, but not that much. But the 8 Series, like this car, I know that old people like the 850 CSI, but I feel like more young people should, because this thing is freaking sick. I love everything there is about the 850 CSI. 31st is an obvious one, the Mazda Miata NA. Say what you want. Say what you want, friendo. But the Miata is a legend nowadays. It is a living legend, and there's a reason for that. It's just a good little starter race car. So many people, so many racing careers have started because of this platform. It's such a well-known car too. It is a household name, like a Miata. Everybody knows what a Miata is now, and it all started with this car in the 90s. It is a legend. The cute little pop-up headlights with the smiley face like grill there, it's adorable. Gotta love it. I gotta love everything there is about it. 30th place is the GMC Cyclone, one of the most legendary trucks of all time. This was like the first time that they really decided, you know what, we're gonna make a truck that's actually like fast and fun. You know, before the Ram TRX, before the Ford Raptor, before the whatever it is GMC's making nowadays, this was it. You know, this was like the fast truck. This is the cool truck, and you gotta love it for that. It's a monster. 29th is going to the Toyota MR2 SW20. Now, the SW20 MR2 obviously didn't start the MR2 line. That would be the AW11. But the SW20, I feel like, is one that really perfected it. The MRS, the one after the MR2 SW20, it's definitely like better in terms of its performance than the SW20. But let's be real, nobody wants that over the SW20. The SW20 is just a mid-engined, rear-wheel drive sports car from the 90s made by Toyota, and it was amazing, man. Coming in at the number 28 spot is the Nissan 300ZX Z32, specifically the twin turbo model, but honestly even the naturally aspirated one can tickle my fancy all day long, and I'm not going to file a report against it because I love it. The Z32 is my favorite of the Z cars, even though I owned a 350Z. Don't ask, I make really poor decisions, so you know, welcome to the channel. But the Z32 is by far my favorite. It looks gorgeous. It was so gorgeous that Lamborghini used their headlights. Okay, like come on. That is the Diablo is one of the most beautiful cars ever made, and it's beautiful because they put Nissan headlights on it. That is sick as hell. Coming in at the number 27 spot, however, is the first supercar of this list, actually, the Ferrari F355. Now, it's not I'm gonna be 100p with you boys. I'm not the biggest, you know, fan of Ferraris or supercars for that matter. You know, I like them, they're cool, but I don't really spend a lot of time researching them, so I don't really know much about the F355. If I'm being 100% honest with you. Oh my God, look at that Alfa Romeo 4C. I like those cars. Those things are underrated in my opinion. I like them a lot. But anyway, yeah, you know, I don't know much about the F355. It's not a car that I really spent a lot of time worrying about and all that mumbo jumbo. But I do know its importance in history, right? Like it's an obviously important 90s car, so I put it here. I respect it. Not the biggest fan of it myself, but I understand why it deserves a spot on this list. Next place is the Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX 2G. This is the second generation of the Mitsubishi Eclipse, and sure, it didn't like all start with this generation because the first gen obviously is the one that started that. The Eagle Talon Mitsubishi Eclipse, that was a wild little ride that we had there. Well, actually, the Eagle Talon was also with the second generation, but either way, it was a wild time. But the second gen is what I really think perfected it. Mwah! Gave it that chef's kiss of a car, especially the GSX. The GSX was literally pretty much a pocket Evo. Like, take an Evo, hit it with a shrink ray, you got yourself an Eclipse GSX. It was super cool. Next up is the Acura Integra Type R. This is what I'm driving, except it's not the Type R, because I'm poor. It's the LS, but you gotta love it either way. But the Acura Integra Type R, the DC2 Integra, is an absolute legend. They're selling for like $150,000 nowadays. It makes absolutely no sense. You could buy an LS Integra for literally $3 grand. That's how much I spent for mine. And people are still, for some reason, like, oh yeah, I'll spend 100K plus on a Type R. Like, yeah, it's a lot better, but let's be real here, it's not worth that much money. But either way, it is a monster. It is a legend. Absolute track weapon. Fastest front-wheel drive car when it came out. It was insane. 24th is going to the Lotus Aspri V8. Now this one is a little bit weird. People are probably going to make fun of me, probably going to steal my lunch money in the comments, because it's not really the most popular 90s supercar. But I love it. I love it more than a lot of other 90s supercars. This thing is sick. I love everything about it. I remember it being in so many freaking racing games that I was playing growing up, and I always chose it because it just looks so cool. Is it the best performing of them all? Absolutely not. But is it cool? Yes. And that's what matters. Coming in at the number 23 spot is the Nissan Silvia S15, my favorite Nissan of all time, and Nissan's my favorite Japanese brand of all time. So it's obviously going to be on this list. This thing is absolutely insane. Now the reason why it's so low is because admittedly it's not like that legendary in terms of other 90s Japanese sports cars. Like, there are even other 90s Nissans that are going to be higher on this list, because this car is just, it really didn't do that much, if I'm being honest. It just took the SR20 that it had in the S14, made it a little bit better, changed up the body style of it a little bit, and that's pretty much it. People really like the S15 just because of its platform, not really because of its legendary status, but it's still a really cool car. Coming in at the number 22nd is the Ford Escort RS Cosworth. I have always loved these cars. The way the wing is like implanted into the hatch on the back of it makes me so freaking happy. Every time I look at it, it gives me dopamine. Like, it is such a good looking wing. It's obviously a rally monster. Everybody loves an Escort RS Cosworth. Why did Ford stop making cool rally cars? Can someone answer that for me? Why did they stop? Why? This thing was nuts. And now they're just like, oh, Ford Fiesta, this is our rally car now. It's like, I don't want a Ford Fiesta rally car. I want a Ford Escort RS Cosworth again. Give us it again, you son of a gun. 21st, however, is an obvious one, the BMW M3 E36. It's obvious, boys. You know, this is a contender for like the Mark IV Supra. Like, every time people bring up the Mark IV Supra, they compare it to the E36 M3. That's a good car, okay? Like, that's a really good car. M3 E36s are personally my least favorite of the 3 Series. I know, shocker. I don't actually like the E36's body style that much anymore. It kind of wore off on me. But either way, I know that it's an insanely legendary car with an insanely legendary history and motor in it, and everything about it is great. 20th place, breaking its way into the top 20. It's a Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. You guys thought I was going to forget about it. No, I did not forget about it. The 3000 GT VR4 is a monster. The base model, not really a monster. Still a really cool car, and for its price nowadays, I think it's a really good option if you want a Japanese sports car. But the VR4 is insane. 4-wheel steering, active aero, twin turbocharged VR4 motor under that puppy. This thing was a 320 horsepower, I think, from factory, and it could obviously make a whole lot more. It was all-wheel drive. Like, the thing is so sick, and it looks insane. It looks so good. 19th place, however, is the Nissan Skyline GTR R34. This is a weird one, because I wanted to put it a lot higher, because realistically, it deserves a lot higher. But I personally, I'm gonna get, somebody is gonna come to my house with a double barrel shotgun and play Russian roulette with my face after I say this. But I personally have never actually liked the looks of the Skylines. I'm sorry, gentlemen, okay? I just never cared too much about the looks of the R34. It has never really been something that, you know, got my stiffy doing cartwheels. I was just always, I like them, they're cool cars, but like, I saw an R34 in person actually. It was an R34 GTR at a drift event one time up at Lebanon Speedway. And it was super cool. I was like, obviously I stopped and stared at it for like 20 minutes and I basked in its glory. But overall, I wasn't, like, I was more excited to see the SC300 that was built than the R34 GTR that day. Because that's just what I like. I don't know, I've never really, now the R32, hello. But the R34, I don't know, man. It's just never really hit me that well. So that's why it's here at the number 19 spot. But the number 18 is the Bugatti EBV110. I'm gonna be 100 P. Again, kind of like with the Ferrari F355, I don't know much about this car. I just know that it's a legend in the 90s, and so I put it here. I know that it's usually blue. I know that it looks pretty wacky. I do like the looks of it, but not my favorite supercar. And I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it's pretty fast. It's a Bugatti, it's pretty cool. Number 17 is the Subaru 22B STI, one of the world's most legendary rally cars, and for good reason. They only made like 500 of these or something like that. They're super rare now, super expensive, but they're super sick. They pretty much just took a normal WRX STI GC platform, gave it some bigger fenders, and made it faster. And we're like, here you go, 22B STI, rally built monster. Coming in at the number 16 spot is the Dodge Viper 2nd generation. I have told my family members since the moment I came out of the womb that if I don't own a 2nd gen Viper in my life, I have failed. These cars are insanely underrated in my opinion, underappreciated, undervalued, under everything. Because you could find like a 2nd gen Viper nowadays for like 50 grand. And they're sick. They are so sick. The GTS models with the freaking stripes on them, I would want a blue one with the silver stripes. That's what I would want. If I could get a blue GTS 2nd gen Viper with the silver stripes. Also, look at that car. Look at that 4C. That is a sick car, dude. Oh, you hear it? You hear it? You hear that? You hear that? That's music to my goddamn ears, guys. Oh man, that thing is sexy. But yeah, 2nd gen Viper is absolutely gorgeous. I love everything there is about the 2nd gen Vipers. Anyway, 15th place is the Toyota Celica GT4. This is specifically the 6th generation, but they did make 5th gen and 4th gens also both had the GT4 models. But I'm talking about the 6th gen with the spider eyes. I like that one the best. But either way, they're so underrated. Absolute rally monsters, and like I feel like no one talks about them anymore. These are like one of those JDM legends that you can still, oh my god, I almost just choked, but that you can still like find for under 20K nowadays, which is crazy. Like cars like the S2000, Evo 8s, and things like that, they still just should blow me away that they're under 20K. Like they're so cool, and this is one of them. Coming in at the number 14 spot is a Jaguar XJ220. I saw one of these in real life. A guy was working on it. I used to work at a delivery parts store, and I went to a shop and some guy was working on it. And it really is just as gorgeous. It's more gorgeous in real life than it is in pictures. Like, it is such a long car, first of all, but it is such a good looking car. Like, they are so sick. I don't even care if they performed poorly. I don't even think they actually like really performed in motorsports that much. I really don't. But either way, they're a cool car and they deserve all the love in the world. I love them. Water breaks. See, this is a problem with doing like a driving and talking video. I don't get breaks in between shots to drink my water and replenish my breath. So I'm like dry mouthing it right now. But either way, 13th place is a Fox body Ford Mustang. It hurt me to put it all the way up here because honestly, I've never really cared for Mustangs. Like I really haven't. Like I'm not a Mustang guy at all. I do like American muscle cars actually, because I like the Corvettes, I like the Camaros, but I guess I'm a Chevy guy. I guess that's what it is. I guess I like Chevys. But yeah, I've never really been a big fan of the Mustangs. But the Fox body Mustang is a legend. Like I couldn't not include it. You know what I mean? Like it is, everybody knows about the Fox body Mustangs. They're one of the world's most tuned cars ever. Like drag racing. If you go to a drag event, you're gonna see a Fox body Mustang. If you go to a drag event and you don't see a Fox body Mustang, you didn't go to a drag event. You went somewhere else. You probably went to a penitentiary or something. I don't know. But it's not a drag event. 12th place is the Mitsubishi Evo 7. The Evo, or Evo 6, my bad. I wanted to include like the Evo 7s, Evo 8s, Evo 9s, but those were pretty much 2000s cars. I know the Evo 7, I think, started in 1999. I think that's the first year it was made, but I'm not gonna count that. I think the Evo 6 either way is an absolute legend. A lot of people like the Evo 6 the best, and so, you know, it probably is a legend in a lot of people's eyes. In my opinion, I do like the next set, the 7, 8, and 9s better than this generation, but it doesn't matter. Any Evo deserved this list. I chose the 7, or the 6, my bad, because they're Evos, come on. Coming in at the number 11 spot is the Ferrari F50. Now, the F40 is an 80s car primarily. I think they built them into 1990, but either way, I wanted to include the F50 here because that's a real 90s car. Like, it was built in 90s and stopped in the 90s. Like, it was a 90s car. And people like make fun of the F50 and say that it doesn't look good. To that, I say you must be blind. You must be either blind or have a mental condition because they look insanely good. I love the F50. The F50 is such a gorgeous car. The way the wing is built into the entire car, oh my god, it is so cool looking. I would kill for an F50, guys. I don't care what anybody says. But breaking its way into the top 10, yes, we're into the top 10 now, is the Porsche 911 Carrera RS 964. Long name, but this is like probably one of the most iconic Porsche 911 models of all time. It is just a monster. If the 911 started obviously really early, I think in the 60s is when the 911 line started, but it never really like it was obviously a legend back then too, don't get me wrong, but I feel like during the 90s is when Porsche really like dialed in the 911, you know what I mean, and was like, this is what we're gonna do from here on out, it's gonna be this way, and that just makes me happy. Coming in at the number 9 spot is my dream car, my favorite car in the world, the Mazda RX7 FD. Now, admittedly, I wanted to put this at first place because it is my dream car. Like, I love the FD RX7 with all my heart. If you guys know, you know, the FD RX7 and me go together like freaking peanut butter and jelly, like Burger King and fat people, like Alfa Romeo 4Cs and Mark's boner. It is just, that's just how me and the FD RX7 are, right? But realistically, compared to like other 90s cars, it isn't that great. Like, I know that it really is pretty unreliable. It does handle like a monster, and when it came out, the twin turbo model was insane. Obviously, like it was a legend, and that's what makes me like them so much. I also love how they look, and the fact that they're rear-wheel drive is really cool to me and stuff like that. But overall, compared to the rest of this list, honestly, you could probably put this car at like the bottom of your list and it would make sense. Like, it really didn't do that much. It's kind of like the S15 Silvia. Like, it's really only on this list and people only really like it because it is just such a cool like car in general, but it didn't really do like anything crazy, you know what I mean? But either way, I think it's not worthy of at least number 9. Coming in at number 8 is another JDM car, the Acura NSX NA1. Come on, people were comparing this thing to Ferraris when it came out, okay? And it was for a fraction of the price. And people still nowadays will like think that this thing is like an old supercar because of how insane it was. It really kind of was a supercar, like, of its time. It was insane. I think that's what it stood for, something sports car experimental. National sports car? No, I don't know what the N stood for, but either way, it was an absolute monster. Like, I love the NSX so much. Coming in at number 7 spot is a Chevy Corvette C5. The C4 ZR1 was one that I saw a lot of people talking about of 90s legends, and I was thinking about it for sure, but I ended up going with the C5. I like the C5 so much better than the C4, dude. The C5, I constantly recommend people buy them on my channel because they are just so good. LS, rear-wheel drive, surprisingly spacious interior, surprisingly good daily driver. No joke. Like, I know you might be like, a Corvette as a daily. You would be surprised, dude. It has so much space. It's reliable. It's comfortable to drive. It gets really good gas mileage for a V8. Like, it is actually a really good car. And on top of that, it was racing against supercars because it was a monster of performance too. It is just an all-around great package. I love the C5 Vet. Coming in at number 6, however, this is, oh my god, the Lamborghini Diablo. Call PETA. Call PETA because I'm gonna hurt something, okay? Because I love the Lamborghini Diablo. The Lamborghini Diablo is absolutely sexy. Like, I included the 300ZX Z32 before, and I mentioned how they share the headlights. Well, this is the car I shared the headlights with, and it's just a monster. The Diablo is so cool. I think it's underrated. I really do. I think people always talk about the Countach, and the Countach is great, don't get me wrong. Diablo's better. I said it, I'm not going back on it. I like the Diablo. Number 5 is the Mark IV Supra. Duh. Duh. It is a car that literally everybody in the car community knows about nowadays. And if you don't know about it, you're probably not a car guy. It is a legend. And you're gonna be like, oh my God, it's so overrated. Is it overrated? Yeah, it's overrated. But so is like every car on this list, okay? Is the Mark IV Supra more overrated than those? Yeah, it probably is. I would agree with that. But it deserves it, man. It is a freaking monster. It came out and it just destroys everything still to this day. And it's 20 years old. People compare it nowadays on TikTok, Instagram to like Lamborghinis and Porsche 911s of today. Of today. It's 2023 and they're comparing a 90s car to it. And they think that they're like the ones in the right. Like if you're comparing a 90s Toyota to a Lamborghini and you think that you're right for making fun of the Toyota and saying like, oh, I can't compare with this Lamborghini, the Toyota won because you are freaking comparing a 90s car to it. You know what I mean? Like it is a legend for that reason alone. It is such a monster. The 2JZ will go down in history as one of the best motors of all time. Great car. But either way, fourth place is a Mercedes CLK GTR. I love the CLK GTR with all my heart. It is one of my personal favorite 90s cars of all time. And I think everybody else would kind of agree with me there. It is just so, I took the wrong corner. Oh, I was supposed to turn in over there. I'm an idiot. All right, well, I gotta get over there. But either way, it is such a like legendary car overall. CLK GTR obviously had a really good history at Le Mans and all that. It just I don't know, it just deserves the love. That's all I can really say. Like it's kind of hard to like elaborate on the CLK GTR because it's just a CLK GTR. It is a legend. Third place is the BMW M3 E30. This is a homologation just monster. Okay, this is the first M3 that they ever came out with, and it set the groundwork, man. This thing was used in every form of motorsports out there: autocross, circuit racing, rally racing, street racing, any sort of racing that you could come up with. The M3 E30 competed and was dominant in it. It was a freaking monster. There's only one car of the 90s that I can say compares to it, and it's going to be the next entry actually. And even then it's like you could easily argue for either sides of it. But the M3 E30 is a homologation legend, and they're still like, I mean, okay, they're expensive and they're definitely overpriced now, but they're honestly not as like overpriced as you would think. You know what I mean? Like they're actually relatively still affordable, and it's insane that they are, because they are an absolute legend. The M3 E30 is insane. It could do it all. But second place could also do it all, and it's the Nissan Skyline GTR R32. This is another car where it was just a track weapon. Got nicknamed Godzilla for obvious reasons. It was the first time Nissan put all-wheel drive onto their GTR platform, and from there on out they stuck with that platform that idea ever since, because it just worked. Everybody loved it. It was insane. It's obviously a really good car in terms of motorsports. It's just like I said with the M3 E30. It was just good at everything that you put it into. And you could easily say like the M3 deserves second, or the R32 deserves second, or whatever. I put the R32 here because I just like it a little bit better than the M3 E30. I think the R32 is an absolute legend and a gorgeous car, and so I put it here. And yes, I know both of these cars started their lives in the 80s, but they ended their lives in the 90s, and so I felt like I could include them and not get any backlash. But first place, you guys probably knew this when you started watching this video. It's no surprise here, but my favorite, or not even my favorite, just the most legendary 90s car of all time is without a doubt in my mind the McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 is still to this day the fastest naturally aspirated car in the world. It is insane. It is a rocket ship. They made the F1 GTR, which was another rocket ship. The F1 LM was another rocket ship, but those don't even matter because the regular one was already a freaking monster. The McLaren F1 will literally just never be forgotten about. It is that insane. I'm gonna get some Chipotle, by the way. That's why I pulled in here to stop the video. But yeah, it is that insane. The McLaren F1, I will be telling my grandchildren about the McLaren F1, okay? Like, they will know about the legendary status of this car. I had a BMW V12 in it. It freaking dominated every form of motorsports. Actually, funny enough, this is gonna sound like a bad thing to say, but it actually wasn't as dominant as most people think it was. People think that the McLaren F1 was like a monster race car, like it absolutely smoked everything. When it came out, there was an Audi Le Mans car that it just could not beat. But besides the Audi, it was the second place all the time. But either way, McLaren F1 is a monster. I don't even have to explain anything about the McLaren F1. I could just show you a picture of it and you'll be like, oh yeah, Yeah, that makes sense. That's first place. Yeah, that hits the McLaren F1. Duh. But either way, I love it so much. But that's the end of today's video. I really want to get some Chipotle, and as I've already been filming for 25 minutes now, so it's gonna be a long video. So I'm gonna go head on in there and get some Chipotle. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section down below. Again, please remember that this is all personal opinions, so don't get mad if your car either didn't make the list or was much lower than you thought it was, than you thought it deserved. But yeah, it's just personal opinion, guys. I think these are the legendary cars. You could argue that they're not. You could argue that, you know, instead of the McLaren F1, the Chrysler PT Cruiser deserves to be #1. I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with you, but you could say that it does. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I love each and every one of you. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.